XRP holders, banks are terrified, and CEOs from across the cryptoverse are going after the banks. Plus, Ripple with an interesting financial move. What could this mean going forward? Hello, beautiful people. Shalom, money makers. Let's get into it. Please read the disclaimer. So currently XRP is sitting at $1.47. XRP had pulled back this morning, but the price of XRP has recovered with the rest of the crypto market. You can see Bitcoin almost at where it was last night at around 82,000. Ethereum actually did not recover as strong, so Ethereum is still sitting at 2,300. Solana is actually up 1.5% at a higher level than it was yesterday at 97.90. So again, we talked about this. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, they were moving very similarly previously, and it seems that they have detached from each other. I don't know if the algo that was doing this shut off or the overlords shut it off. But it is a very interesting situation that is happening right now. And we see that the price action is a little bit different for all of top four assets. As always, I just want to remind you that this video is for educational purposes, for entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence before you decide to invest. I do not know day to day what's going to happen with the crypto market, with the stock market, which is actually some are doing good today, some are doing bad. We'll get to that in just a second. But let's get back to crypto and get back to XRP. Like I said yesterday, when we were moving to the upside and then we pull back a little bit, the next level that I am going to be looking for is to see if XRP can close over this 162 level. The 162 level for XRP is even 163. We haven't had a close over this level since the beginning of February. So it's almost 3 months that XRP has not been at this level. And of course, if we're able to get XRP to those levels, that would give us, momentum, and it would mean that we were moving up. For Solana, for example, it's interesting because it broke out with that crossover in the 1348 EMA, and it's at levels that it hadn't seen since February 4th, right? Bitcoin levels since January 31st, right? Ethereum levels that it saw at February 3rd. XRP, right? Levels that we saw more around February 6th, 7th. It's still lower than it was at February 4th, February 3rd, right? We were 160. So if you're looking at XRP on that standpoint, you could say, okay, XRP might be actually undervalued right now relatively to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. And so it's interesting to see over the next few days, if we do see a breakout, will XRP catch up a little bit with that price action, or is it going to hold back a little bit? Again, depends on the demand and what's happening, how the buying and selling is. Let me know in the comment section, what do you think? You think we're going to see a breakout or a fake out here? We talked this morning about the current situation between the US and Iran. Right now, President Trump says he is considering renewing Project Freedom in the Strait of Hormuz. Project Freedom, if you don't remember, is the US military operation which was established to escort merchant ships through the Strait of Hormuz. And right now, oil prices are sitting at 98. So, they were already at 88 just a few days ago when it was feeling a little bit better on the peace agreement. But right now, it's less likely currently. So we're seeing oil prices rise a little bit. But what's interesting is silver just popped up 6.5%. This with President Trump planning to come to China this week. Maybe that's one of the reasons, because gold is not really up in the same level. So interesting that silver is kind of popping up today. We'll see how that plays out. And we have President Trump saying that the ceasefire between the US and Iran is unbelievably weak and on life support. So, when you have that situation, it kind of freaks out the oil prices a little bit. Silver popping. Crypto, again, some up, some down right now. It's kind of a mixed bag. Also, if we look at the stock market, some are up. S&P 500 is up another 0.4%, creating new highs. But there are assets. Some are down. Meta's down today. Amazon's down today. Microsoft's down today. Apple's down today, 0.5%. So even though the Nasdaq is up another 0.4, it's a lot because there are some assets that are moving big. Some 20, 12, some things like that. Micron's up again, big 7%. So there are some big movers here. Some continuations of what we saw on Friday. Tesla up 3.3%. So there are some movers. AMD continues to rise, creating new highs. So we're seeing the stock market continue to be very strong, especially AI plays. NVIDIA maybe is the reason why, because it's up 2.5%. So it's moving the whole S&P 500. Remember, it's already 5.36 trillion market cap. So just one company. So it has, if it goes up, it moves the whole S&P 500 up in a nice way. So we'll see how the stock market continues this week, if there's a continued momentum or do we see a pullback. Of course, tomorrow we do have the CPI results that are going to come out, and this is on the eve of the banking committee that is going to put in they're going to vote today on whether or not to put in the new SEC chairman. I had it, but I don't have it now. Where is it? No. Here. The U.S. Senate is set to vote today to confirm the new Fed chair. Kevin Warsh, former Morgan Stanley executive and Fed governor. He's been already a Fed governor, so it's not that he's new to the Fed, right? This is the first fully partisan Fed chair confirmation in U.S. history. Every prior confirmation included bipartisan support. Warsh passed the banking committee 13-11 on pure party lines. So this is interesting. Trump publicly called for rates as low as 1%. They currently sit at 3.5%. The Department of Justice opened a criminal investigation to Powell to pursue him out, then dropped it only after Warsh's path was clear. Markets are already pricing in the Warsh trade, a hawkish shift heading into critical June FOMC meeting. If it historic break from 75 years of precedence, Powell confirmed he will stay on board of governors until 2028, even after Warsh takes over. A former chair remaining as voting member alongside his successor has never happened before. That's also going to be an interesting dynamic there. Will we see, problems arise between the two, and what will be the decisions going forward? Sometimes when a CEO stays on or is on like the board of directors and there's a new CEO and there's clashes and things like that. So we'll see. Again, Powell only have one vote, right, on the board of governors there, but still he might have, whisper into the other governors' ears, right? He might have their confidence and maybe he can sway the decision. So again, that could be problematic. We're going to see. Now let's talk a little bit about Clarity Act. So we are getting closer and closer to Thursday's markup. And there was an interesting, headline that came out here today. It says Brennan Peterson said that American Banker Association Rob Nichols sent the following letter on Sunday to every other bank CEO in the country, asking bankers for immediate engagement on stablecoin yield policy. Senate Bank Committee is slated to mark up this Thursday, and you see Patrick Witt answered him. He says, I specifically requested the attendance of Mr. Nichols and other bank trade CEOs at the meeting we hosted back in February to resolve the stablecoin royalty issue. They refused. I guess the White House was beneath them. In their defense, I wouldn't want to have to defend their position in public either. And we had also Paul from Coinbase, right, the CLO, responding, maybe the CEO didn't get the message from the people actually in the room at the White House in meeting after meeting. We've already had immediate engagement. You got idle yield removed. I know because I was there. You weren't. Take yes for answer, move on, stop wasting the time of the Senate and the American people. It seems there's a last minute kind of blitz from the banks to try to combat the Clarity Act and the potential rewards, right? So there's no yield on the stable coins, but there could potentially be rewards, right? So that's like the wording that they were able to get in. And the banks are starting to freak out because they're understanding that could mean basically the same thing. But what's their saying? Fox in a wolf in sheep's clothes. So kind of right. So this could potentially be like they changed the wording, but it's still the wolf, right? So we'll see what is going to happen here in the next coming days. Going into Friday, will there be a blitz from the banks, and will they be able to sway the people on the banking committee? It seems like most of the Democrats on the committee are for the Clarity Act. There are some, of course, like Senator Warren and a few others that are against, but it seems like there's a majority that are for the Clarity Act. So it will be very interesting to see what happens there. And interesting move here from Ripple came out that Ripple announced that this announcement here. Dependable access to financing is critical to institutional participants in today's dynamic markets, and Ripple Prime's ability to meet this need just got much stronger. We're proud to partner with Nürburger on $200 million debt facility to meet rising client demand for our institutional grade prime services and margin financing solution. Bigger balance sheet, better capital efficiency, best in class service. Now, this is interesting, right? They're using a tool, right? Taking on some debt in order to facilitate the client's needs. There's usually some ways that you can raise money. It's either go to a financial institution like Newberger here, right? And if you search what they are, it says is a private, independent, employee-owned investment management firm. The firm manages equity, fixed income, private equity, and hedge fund portfolios for global institutional investors. So they're basically giving Ripple a line of credit here, so Ripple can facilitate the transfers more easily, right, without potentially, for example, using Ripple's funds or the chas v'chalila, right? Selling some XRP in order to do that, right? And so this is an interesting step forward. It means that they have business. It's going good. They wouldn't be doing this if they didn't, have a business right now. So this is a good sign for Ripple, and potentially this could be a good sign for XRP, right? So very, very, good situation here. They can also lend to people. So this is going to be, I think, a level up for Ripple going forward. Don't forget to smash the like button. Check out the links in the description down below. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. Like I always say, let's make a lot of money.